Screen one share. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay. So this is the subject property, right?
Yes.
See how this is it's almost like a bi-level because you have two-story on this side and then a single story on that side.
Right.
If you look at the 926 Wellsey, this is just a ranch. So they're not considered the same property when you go to comp them.
Okay.
You
I
want
see what
apples
you're
for
getting
apples.
at.
And
I'm only covering like the first like level of comping, which is finding something nearby. I'm not looking at
no,
what's a actually comparable similar house and
right.
property.
Which is why I want to share with you so you learn and can get better at it. So if you look, we come back here, and this is why I love this tool, right? So here's the subject property at 1262, 32 lot, and then built, right? So
Right.
if you scroll down, this is kind of close, 1084. You'd have to do some adjustments because one is smaller, plus bedroom, but it was this basically this month, 2 days ago, right? Sold for 168. If you go take a look at it, that also is not a comp. See how it's not the same structure?
Right. Yeah.
So you come back, let's see what the next one would be. That's a 1-1.
It's also a much bigger lot than all these other houses.
Right. So here's one that's somewhat comparable, not even a quarter mile away, right? 288. So it's almost same square footage. This one sold for 242, but then it goes back to May. So you're getting right outside that 180 days. But this could still be a good comp depending on how quickly you purchase it. Where did it go? And again, this one you might be able to get away with. If you see this window up here, that could be considered like a 1.5 story. I can't look at it that way. I It still looks more of a ranch or a bungalow than it does the other house. Um,
I agree.
you could potentially use that one, but not necessarily. So we keep
Well,
going.
you could always use it as like an anchoring point, right? Like,
Well, if you can't find one that's closer in style, you could use it. Ideally, you want to try to find one that's very close in structure, and you also want to try to keep one that's in the same neighborhood.
right.
So, was this the one that I was just looking at? That's a 4-2. Let's see what this one is. 910 Haynes. Haynes Monroe, that's an attached building, so we don't really want that one either. Um, what does Blaine look like? Blaine, you can't even see. That's horrible. But again, it's also sold back in April, so it's not. Um, it's an older comp. But you can see here, you got one. It's 168, 164. That's probably closer to what we're
What we're
looking.
looking at.
Again, it's
Yeah.
still smaller in size, right? Here's 166, which it looks like it could be a two-story. You can't tell through all the bushes, but it's a 1-1.
So probably not. Yeah.
Same thing. They consider these 1.5 stories because it's probably just like a loft up there. It's not a full. Um,
Floor. Yeah.
this one, same thing. This one's probably a full length. Um, but you're looking at the numbers, right? 164, 155.
Well, but also that house that's the most similar, it's only a 928 square foot.
Correct. Um, and you do a little bit of an adjustment for it, but you're not going to do much, right? It's 200 square feet. Let's say it's at what, 100? You may be able to do 220 for an adjustment. You're not going to get to 275 from there or two.
Even with it being a much larger lot?
You don't really get much for lots, to be honest with you. It's more the house.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, you can, don't get me wrong. Um, but people are going to pay for a house. They don't really pay for the lot. You'll get a little bit of a plus for the bigger lot. But if you look on my screen here, there's only one property that even has somewhat close to that kind of acreage, and it's this one right here. And even that's sold at 231. Yes, it's way smaller, almost what 400 square feet, 450. That's smaller. That's a little closer, and that was in what August 230. Got this one at 290. That was in August. What does this one look like? It's half a mile away though. Yeah, see, not the same house. These are the kind of the comps that you're going to look at right here for ARV. Can't really see that one. This is crossing a major road, so it's not usually
Right.
yellow comp. This is down the road from it. We already checked that one. 269, 208. Nope. This one right out here in the corner. Nope. What about this 280 out here? Oop. That looks like land. That's a attached property. Here, I looked at those. So you see where I'm saying where if I'm an investor, if you were coming to me and you're like, hey, I got this deal, can I wholesale it to you for 135, right? So then it's less than what is on the market for. I'm like, I probably wouldn't get it unless this was rent ready and there was nothing to fix it up with. Um, it doesn't make sense. I mean, closing costs alone, if you did, let's see here, if you do 140, right? Let's say asking price at, let's just go low and do 7%. That covers closing costs and agent fees. You're at 10 grand right there. So if I get it for 135, I'm actually paying 145, and we're talking about maybe 155, 165 as an ARV. Really, really tight. You
Okay.
see what I'm doing?
Okay. So we're thinking that the ARV is really closer to like 165.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like I said, you could potentially use this one, even though it's smaller. This one's almost the same square
Mhm.
footage, right?
Right.
Necessarily, ideally, the same structure, but this was November 1st. If out of all the ones that we've seen, this one's probably a better gauge of what's going on in that neighborhood. At a 3.1 and ours is a 3.2, and it's just slightly bigger. And this one's older with a decent sized lot. So I mean, you could, like I said, adjust it maybe get it to 165, but then if you're offering, you'd have to get this. Would you say 122? Is that what you're offering? So
That
you,
would like if they don't have any offers yet, and also just based on the fact that I don't know anything about it really yet. Yeah, I mean that's based off of Jerry's little like offer calculation, the 70% of the
Yep.
ARV minus rehab.
So you would be all in expenses, agent fee, and closing costs, 131. Then you want to add your wholesale fee. Oops. So you at 141.1. I mean, you would sell it to um, an investor at 132, which is less than what it's on the market for, right? But you're at 141, you might have 20K in equity when you bought it, and that's if you don't have to do any fixes.
Um,
So if I'm coming here, you got two pictures. Usually when they don't have pictures inside, that means you don't want to see the inside. That's usually
well, I don't know why this site doesn't have them, but there are more photos. It is definitely a fix and flip.
okay.
Like, I don't think it's ever been updated since it was built. Um, yeah, it's gonna need like some of those walls, it's like that kind of plastic veneer crap that looks like fake wood.
Hmm.
Ripping that stuff out. Oh, okay, here you go. Like that ceiling is super ugly. Uh,
Yeah, those are tiles, so you want to rip all that out.
yeah.
So you see where this wouldn't be a good deal, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, based off of like the new comping that you did with me. Because yeah, initially I thought it would have been worth closer to 265 once it was fully done. Because
Okay,
not a
let's
lot of
use,
houses in that area are updated.
let's use your logic here, right? So 265 is what you thought it was going to be at.
Yeah.
You were using Jerry's method, right? So Jerry goes 265, which is ARV. You start at a 185.5 number because that takes care of closing costs and agent fees. What else is
I
that
I'm
number?
sorry, could you actually go over that one more time?
Which one?
What you just did?
This
Like,
265?
yeah, this number, the 185.5, you're saying that's what I'm gonna need, like including the
I'm trying to get
closing.
you what your asking price should where you should start for an asking price using Jerry's method. Because Jerry, what he does is he takes the ARV and then you get it at zero point 0.7 and he times zero point 0.7. Do you know why he times it zero point 0.7?
Uh, no, I
Because
d
hard money lenders and private money lenders, most of them will do 100% financing at 70% LTV.
okay.
So if this is where he starts, right, and he starts subtracting his fees, his you said wholesale fee and repair costs, right, from this number, then he knows what he has to be at for a purchase price in order to get this thing 100% funded without having to go any money out of his pocket. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. I am having trouble mustering the faith in myself to be able to find a deal that, I mean, I've had such trouble just finding a deal in general. The thought, I that just seems,
But again,
yeah,
it's a numbers game.
yes, it
You're
is.
going to probably have 99 no's before you get to your 101 or 100. Your
I know
last
what you're trying to
100,
say.
which would be your yes,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So,
I
uh,
needed to hear that. Thank you. I do because it is, you go through like so many houses and you're like, God, are we ever gonna get one? Is this even the right path for me?
it,
Like
it, it's
it's
a
easy.
it's a consistency game, honestly, and
Okay.
it's a numbers game. Like I said, out of I think the way that they what do you call it, articulate the numbers, out of 100, you may get maybe 10, 15 responses, right, from offers that you put out. From those 10 or 15, maybe only five of them are really good deals or worth pursuing, and then out of those five, only one will become a deal. So it's like 100 to 1. I think I'm pretty sure it's the ratio when you're trying to find a deal. If yours is better than that, then either you are paying way too much for your deals, or you just got a great market and stick with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a lot
So
of landscaping on here, like you said. You had to update this kitchen. You're gonna update all of this, the ceilings. I mean, you have a lot of debris or junk that you didn't throw away. I at 1262. I don't know what cost would be there, but I would say that'd be a moderate. Um, I would probably spend about 75, 76 to fix that up.
that sounds about right to me. Yeah.
And that's why you would do it what they consider a napkin underwriting, right? I don't know what the exact numbers would be, right? I had to get my contract there, find out how much it cost for drywall, labor, blah blah blah, appliances. But for a moderate flip, which would this is what I would consider a moderate flip. Um, and I'm using because it's in South Dakota, 50. Some places you could probably use up to 75 per square foot for just to guesstimate what labor is or what construction costs would be. Um, so that's where I would be. So going back to if it was true that it was 265, like you said, you're gonna start at 70% minus, let's just do 76,000. That's your rehab budget. And then you want to have probably another, let's say, eight for contingencies, right? In case you
Yeah.
have a budget. And then you're going to subtract um, your fee. So that's where you'd have to be on that house.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And that's assuming, right, that you could find a comp of 265 of a like house, which again, we've already ruled these two out.
Okay, wait. Just to clarify, that $91,000 offer, that's based off of a 265 ARV?
Yes.
Oh my God. So if the ARV is really 165, but the offer's like $5,000 or something, like
Just wouldn't it just wouldn't be a deal.
what would be the best exit strategy for this? Or is this like just don't enter, do not pass go kind of
Honestly,
house?
on this particular one, unless they were just willing to give the property away or take 91 for it. So I have the nice thing is I have invested in different tools. So let's just see something real quick. So this is prop stream. Have you heard or used this?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it because I think it costs money, right?
It does cost money, but
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that I'm making good decisions is worth it to me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's expensive, but
I'm all
I have
for
to
the
work for it.
I'm all for the products, but I think it's kind of like you kind of have to like struggle and work your way up to being able to pay for you know what I mean? Like, so that's where I'm at, as you know, because I'm just starting out. But yeah, once I did a deal or two and I had the extra funds to like sign up with these kinds of services, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I think I certainly could use the help, you know? So yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm against it. It's just
No,
not
no,
in the
I was just
budget.
asking. So, according to PropStream, U.S. Bank has the mortgage on this. The estimated balance on this is 8,500 bucks roughly, right? And it looks like it's going to mature in 2032. So, well, I show this why. One, if we offered 91, there is some equity that they would be getting at closing, right? So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a huge slap in the face. They know the condition, and VA would never sell on this. You probably wouldn't even get a conventional loan. You might get a conventional loan on this, right? Because of the condition of the property is in. Uh,
But yeah, I don't know if they would or not. And I'm still waiting to hear too. The realtor said he has someone coming to inspect the foundation in the next couple days.
and how do you put that
It,
into that estimate of rehab? You can add probably 15 to 20 guesstimation on that if there is a foundation problem.
right, yeah. I kind of had it already in my head, like a house with foundation issues or soon to be foundation issues is like
Mhm.
not for me right now.
So, if you wanted to move forward with this house, barring there's no foundation issues, your max offer would be 91.5 is my opinion.
What about doing a sub two?
If they would be willing to do it, I don't know if they would. You could potentially do this as an novation, right?
Right.
Where you say, okay, fine, I will agree to pay you this much for this house, um, as long as you let me market it, fix it up, do whatever, and you're basically sharing. But that way you don't have any cost, no carrying costs. You can just all you have is the repair cost, and then you pay them at closing what you agreed to pay them, and you get the difference. So let's say they accepted your 91.5 offer, and you were able to sell it for 265 on the back end. You would have the 265 minus your expenses, minus the 91.5, and that would be your profit basically. So rough numbers, just so to show it to you. If you sold it for 265, and that's a big if, right? Let's say you stayed on budget and you only spent 76,000 to fix it. And then you have um the 91.5 that you offered them. And let's just say you had seven like utilities and stuff. That's really high for utilities and stuff. When you do novations, you don't have the carrying cost. Basically, it's absorbed into the 91.5 basically. But I'm just trying to like over exaggerate, be very, 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 very conservative.
I'm down with that.
You could technically profit 90K on that deal if they were okay to do an ovation.
But this is also based on if I could sell it for 265,
Correct.
which isn't realistic, we found.
My opinion, no, I don't think it's realistic. My
Okay.
my real my if I was evaluating this for myself as a deal, I would probably go no higher than 165. And that's like I said, a really hard sell, but it's these are close. What was that other one? I think it was um,
So, so based off of 165, like what could I offer?
well, we do the math, right? Well, 160 it depends. Again, if you're trying to remember, I told you that 70% is to get the um, project 100% financed, right?
Right.
But if you don't do that and you actually you use a hard money loan, they'll finance 80% of it. Uh,
Okay.
so how do I want to
I
share?
mean, I know with Edwill, they do like the rehab is reimbursement based.
Yeah,
Um,
but there's different hard money lenders. There's some that it's all with they do what they call either 90 or 8100, um, but it's all like calculated. So calculated into the down payment, held in escrow, right? So his program, I think, is 80/80, where you would have um, so 80% of the purchase price of one, you would be at 165. That's the ARV. Let's figure out what our purchase price would be. At 165 minus the 76K. And if you were holding on to this, you're almost right at the same price. Because you don't want to take out oh, you got closing cost. Shoot. Um,
yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, no, there's no way.
just for easy numbers, let's do 8,000 for closing costs. Um, what else am I missing? And then let's do another like 3,500 for the agent fee. So if you were going to do this as a fix and flip, you'd probably want to offer around 77.5 if you used a hard money lender.
Okay, so I want to write all this down. Fix and flip. I would offer.
Yeah, let me actually do this to kind of hit it home for you.
Okay, and that's like the max, that 77?
Yeah. Let
Okay.
me show you here.
Um, if I did a sub two, now I feel like I may not be remembering correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong. With sub twos, do they usually go for people that have low equity, right?
There's so many strategies for sub two. You can do low equity. You could do where there's no, it's a free and clear property. You could do um, free and clear foreclosure. You could do inherited properties. You can do half a dozen different types of properties when you do sub two.
Okay, so it doesn't matter that they have high equity.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
Just depends if you're willing to. Um,
because I'll just throw this out there, like my husband and I would probably be down to live in this house,
okay.
but we would definitely need to use a creative way to do that because we're certainly not gonna qualify for a conventional loan, any bank loan probably. Um,
Well, that's why you would do the hard money loan from like Edwill. You know what I mean? To fix it up, purchase it and fix it up. Then you have a year to refinance it.
but when it comes to refinancing, Okay, when you said fix it up, are you referring to a novation or are you referring to buying it and fixing it?
Buying and fixing it. If you're going to live in it, novation doesn't really work that well unless you um, work out some kind of deal. Then you'd have a sub two or a hybrid where you have sub two to the existing mortgage and um, a sub two for the equity that they have in the house. So that's how you could do that. Where let's say you like, fine, I'll give you 140 for your house, but I want to pay the existing mortgage, which we just saw was 8,500 bucks roughly, right? And I'll give you, let's say, 5 grand in your pocket now. So that's what, eight, five is 13. So that's what, 127 is would be the balance. And then say I want 10 years to pay that off. Or I make 120 or 120 payments of 500 bucks a month with a balloon payment in 10, 15 years, whatever they'll agree to. Does that make sense?
I'm about to ask you a question or two about that actually. I'm just
Okay.
finished writing this down. Okay, down payment 5K, bank roughly 8,500K. Sorry, 8,500, not 850,000. Um, and then monthly payments with a balloon payment at 10 years.
Yeah, you try to go as far as out as you can. I wouldn't do anything less than 7.
Right.
It gives you, time to stabilize the property. It gives you time for appreciation of the house. So that way, if you can't um, afford to refinance it, then you can just put it on the market and still make some money off the sale. Because obviously you would have improved the property, so it should be more worth more than 140 at that time.
Okay.
But you're in Rapid City. I don't know how fast houses are appreciating out there.
Well, I know during the winter, house prices tend to drop.
That's everywhere.
Yeah. And then in the spring, it'll pick back up again. And, I'm not exactly sure what kind of changes, our new administration is going to implement and, or how what kind of effect that's going to have on the market.
Mm-hmm.
It's way outside my wheelhouse, or I don't know how, I don't understand all the abstract parts and how they fit together when it comes to this, just because I'm still so fresh. So, um, and you were saying, okay, so monthly payments would be like $500 a month. Is that
That
what you said?
that's what you would offer, right? So at 8,500, you have to pay the existing mortgage. So they're estimating that is
11, 15, 32.
$115 a month estimated. Right, then that may just be PI. That may not be principal, interest, tax, and insurance. That might just be the principal and interest payment. So you have the 115 plus, the 500 bucks, so you'd be at like 650 a month if they agree to it. Again, you have to get all this agreed upon from by the seller.
Right. Okay. I mean, because that seems like a much better deal than trying to fix and flip. Like,
Right. So this is what I'm trying to show you here. Look,
and then we could also like decide to rent it out if we decide we don't want to live there.
sure.
My issue is just like if they end up needing an amount we don't have and we have to get like a private money lender, like I don't know how people do that, how they like buy a house using a private money lender to rent and then have a way to pay them off in time.
So there's multiple strategies on how to do that. You're you're
You
kind of
know what, Jose, you just need to start your own class. I'll be your first student. You could record every session and have completed your owner's club YouTube assignment or whatever it is.
that's a lifetime assignment. That will never end
That's
because
what I'm saying.
so. But let's get back to this because unfortunately I did Zoom and not Google Meet, so we're limited on time here. But
Oh, do you want to switch over or do you want
no, I'll stop the recording here shortly. But I just want to show you this real quick, and then we'll go into the private money thing.
okay.
So see here, even at 100, how much money you would be losing if it was 165. Even if we do it to 265, see how you just make 40, and that's with an 86.5 um, rehab budget.
So,
Uh,
like my profit would be 40?
yeah,
I'm
deep
down.
profit.
That's a big profit to me.
It'd be this. It's technically would be this one right here. Because you gotta pay back the person that came brought money to the table. So see the split?
Okay, that looks more reasonable. Okay. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to make too much less than that because that's really skinny.
Yeah. But that's at 265. Like I said, we already know it's at 165 is more
Mhm.
accurate.
It's
So
like
even that,
negatives. Oh my God. Yeah.
but these are the things people are not thinking about when they try to evaluate flipping a house, right? Because look at you got to carry the house at this is just your insurance, utilities, taxes that you got to pay, right? 3246. That's based off borrowing it at 90% of the cost and 90% of the rehab. Yeah, exactly. Um, so let me just throw in there about the private money lenders. So if you had a private money lender on this for to purchase, right? And let's say you had it for a 2-year term, and you couldn't afford to um, refinance it. What you could do is one, you find another private money lender that would basically buy out the other investor. Two, you sell it on the market just to get out of it, right? Or three, you find somebody who can finance it for you, and they just become a partner in your into the property. You just use the property as collateral to pay them back,
Yeah. I mean, because I don't imagine that we would live there like more than 5 years anyway.
right?
Um, it's just like a to start out somewhere.